crafters, thanks for joining me here in the attic. So pull up a chair, grab your favorite beverage, and we'll get to crafting and memory keeping. Welcome to day 13 of Fairy Wings and Forgotten Things. We are almost through with the second week of this collaboration, but there's still time to jump in, head over to the attic, grab those game boards, and post those prompt pictures to be entered into the giveaway at the end of the month. There is a complete playlist along with an instructional video telling you how to enter here on my YouTube channel. I will have that link down in the description box. And for today, this is my official day, so be on the lookout for your official fairy token and see if you can figure out what prompt I'm playing with. Professor Fernscribe today is going to be going into the world of the Dandelion Fairies. The kit I'm working with today is by Kim at It's a Crafty Life. That link will also be in the description box. It is one of the official Fairy Wings and Forgotten Things kits. If you're new, there were 6 kits that myself and 5 other collaborators put together for this, but I am working with those kits and a few additional ones. All the kits I am going to be working with throughout this whole 30-day adventure will be linked down in the description box. Today, I'm going to be playing with some die cuts. I grabbed some green cardstock that I thought went really well with Kim's color palette. And I did some cutting out of those in different shapes of flowers. And to add a little depth to those, I'm going to use an ink I don't use a whole lot, and it's the ink Picket Fence. But I thought that would add like the fluffy look that we think of when we think of a dandelion. Got a couple of little things that didn't pop out when I did those die cuts. I'm going to get those out really quick. I'm going to be just doing a little bit of direct to paper technique on some of these. I may use the makeup sponge a little bit just to see what I get playing around. I haven't used this ink pad a whole lot. I don't want nearly as much on the leaves as I do that flower head. There are lots of different ways that you can add ink to your projects. You can do this direct paper technique with the ink pad. You can use blending brushes. You can use the blending foams with the ink daubers. You can use like makeup sponges like I'm doing here. You don't have to use Distress ink. You can use any ink of choice. Distress ink, I just like it because it has a lot of versatility to it if you want to add water to get different effects. I might do some of that during this collaboration. Haven't done that in a while. I have been enjoying seeing what everybody's been posting in the Facebook group. There are a lot of talented people out there, guys. Check those albums out and see what everybody's creating anytime you're at a loss for inspiration or just have some free time and you want to see what everybody else is doing. I'm liking how this is turning out. It's just giving a little bit of a frosted look to these flowers, these die cuts. Alright, I'm going to grab my towel and kind of wipe my hands off where I, forgot one. That last one, don't want to leave that one out. And I think the next thing I want to do is I've done a lot of fussy cutting out of some of the embellishments in Kim's kit. I want to ink those up, but I want to do that with the vintage photo to try to pull in these colors that she has used in her page images. I'm going to grab a sheet and I'm just going to lay these die cuts on this and move these out of the way and let those be drying while we score up these pockets and ink up this ephemera. Slide that over. Alright. I love this pocket Kim did. So cute. One of the things I have been trying to do that kind of goes along with the forgotten things about this collaboration is I've been trying to use up things that I've kind of had tucked away in my stash, like that picket fence ink and several other things I have used throughout the collaboration. So that's just one more way where I'm bringing in the forgotten part. And I know a lot of crafters are like that, because we talk about that a lot in my design team group, where we have things we forgot we had them. We try to organize, we find things we forgot we had. After this collaboration, I am going to get back to trying to work on organizing my craft room a little bit better. I started that, and then this collaboration went into full speed ahead, so I had to kind of put that on hold. I also started some wedding albums for my daughter's wedding pictures. I'll be finishing those out. Hope to have those completed by Christmas. But the fairies just kind of took over for a little while, at least for the month of September. All this scored up, and then we can put our scoreboard away. Go. Get that tucked away. And this is going to be more of a simple style journal. I'm not going to try to get too involved with anything really crazy with this one. I'm trying to keep some of these pretty beginner friendly. Some of them I'll go a little rogue and go out of the box, like a few of them I've already done. All these flaps done. And I can't believe, like, September is almost half over. That is just crazy to me. It will be Christmas before we blink. Got some Christmas kits in mind I want to be doing. If anybody has any ideas of things they'd like to see in kits for Christmas, drop those down in the comments. I know this is a fairy collaboration, but hey, fairies like Christmas too. What I'm doing is just trimming up these a little bit so that when I fold them over, I don't see those wings of the flaps. Sometimes when the pockets are angled, you can still see those. I'm going to grab my vintage photo. I'm just going to add some music here, and I'm going to go ahead and ink up all the ephemera. I've got right much ephemera here that I need to ink up. and then we'll get to creating this page. Got everything inked up, and I inked up some hole reinforcers. These are pretty easy to find. You can find them in most office supply sections of like big box stores, and I'm going to use those on my tags, and you can always change the color with any ink or paint or anything like that to match your projects. And I'm going to start out by trying to lay out how I want these pockets to go. I think I want this one right here in the corner. And I think I'm going to do stacked pockets here. I think I'm going to do one right there and stack these, but I'm going to stagger them to where you kind of see the images still. And I'm going to grab my die cuts. I think I'm going to start adding my die cuts in here. Just lay those around, and I often like to do this before I start gluing things down. I just kind of like to lay things out to see how it's going to look. That way I still have time to change it if I don't like how it's turning out. Because once you glue it down, you run the risk of tearing your pages if you try to pull it back up after that. I'm going to end up putting a lot of those tags over there. I think I want to maybe put the butterfly here and the dragonflies maybe here, here, maybe even do these kind of like that. Okay, I like that. I think I want to do ink this up. That's not it. Ink this one up. I forgot this one. I think I'm gonna use that tag to back the Dandelion Fairy. Okay, I'm liking how that looks. I think I'm going to go ahead and start gluing things down. Let's just grab our glue. You can use any glue of choice. These fussy cut images, I did print those on sticker paper, so I don't have to put any glue on that. I like to do that sometimes with fussy cuts especially, so I don't end up having to go back and put glue on them. I'm going to go ahead and mark this. See if I can find my pencil. Does anybody else lose things on their desk all the time? There it is. I'm going to mark this so that I kind of know where that goes. And then I can do the others pretty easily. Has anybody started decorating for fall and Halloween yet? I think I would like to do that this weekend. I normally have started by now. And again, the fairies just kind of took over. And I have not had time. This time of year is my favorite. I love it when the nights get cooler. And I love spooky season. Alright, let's go ahead and glue the second one on. I think I need to fill up my glue bottle. I mentioned in another video, even if you don't have the kits I'm playing with and you had scrapbook paper, pockets are fairly easy to make out of scrapbook paper on your own. If you wanted to do something similar to this with another kit or scrapbook paper. And do I want to add anything to that? I think I'm going to add a little bit of netting. Grab my scissors and just add a little bit of texture right behind that. Yeah, I like that. When I'm making clusters, I generally try to do things in odd numbers. I just think it looks a little bit more appealing to the eye. So if you see me add things just kind of out of the blue, that's why I do that a lot of times, because I'm looking for that odd number combination. Just a little bit. Now let's go ahead and add my stickers, and then I'll add the die cuts. If you do print on sticker paper and you fussy cut around something like that, just be careful taking your backing off so that you don't tear like anything that's super detailed fussy cut. Put that down. Because depending on your sticker paper, it might be a little thin and easily torn if you're not careful pulling that off. We've had a lot of new people joining in the Facebook group. I appreciate all you guys and all the new subscribers here on my channel. Thank you so much for your kind comments, everybody. If you are so inclined, I know if you watch YouTube on your television, it's hard sometimes to remember to come back and comment when you're on your computer or your mobile device. But if you hit that like button, that helps the channel out a whole lot too. I would appreciate that. I want to start out with the middle piece. I hope everybody's enjoying the collaboration. Again, I do know there was a lot of moving parts for this one. I had a lot of my design team that wanted to join in, so in order to have that much going on, it ends up being a lot of moving parts. I promise we will have collaborations that are a lot easier also. But I hope you're having fun with this one. This is the first official collaboration I've ever hosted in my Facebook group. I did do a lot with Junetober over in the Paper Bees Facebook group this year. But this is the first one that I have officially hosted as Lottie's Magic Attic. I'm going to add some music here and just finish gluing these on, and we'll come back and finish out the final embellishments. I decided I wanted to add some Nuvo drops for some interest into these die cuts, and I grabbed the one that says Ivory Seashell. So I'm just going to add some to different areas around these die cuts. I like that. I'm going to set these aside and let them dry, and we'll come back and we'll start working on that envelope pocket. Alright, now I would like to go ahead and announce the official token for today. If you haven't already guessed, today's fairy token is the fairy bed. This is the prompt we'll be working with. And I've started working with this little envelope here. Added hole reinforcers because this is where I'm going to create my fairy bed. I love to use the hole reinforcers on things like this and tags. It serves two purposes. It does reinforce those holes and it adds extra interest and stuff to your project. And I love that you can change the colors of them so easily just with inks. What I've thought about doing here is I am going to take some cotton and kind of fluff this out and add this to the inside of my envelope with some tacky glue and make this my little fairy bed, like the fairies have taken the puff of the dandelion and made their bed. So I'm just going to spread this out. And then I'm going to take my tacky glue, add that, and just press that down, get that glued down. I even fussy cut out a little fairy that I'm going to put in here to make it look like she's sleeping on the bed of dandelion. I'm going to just ink this up and then we'll start putting our little envelope together. Alright, so got that. The way this fits together is it just folds in, and you're going to need something to keep it closed. And I'm going to use some twine here. Just going to get a piece. It's kind of long, and I can cut off what I don't need. And I'm going to go, there's a couple of ways you can do this. I'm going to make it pretty simple. I'm going to go in one way, cross, and then go back the other way. And tie it together in just a simple little bow. And cut off my extra there. And that way it's just like that. Let's bring my pages back. And this is going to fit right in here in this little pocket along with my daily information card. So I want to go ahead and just ink that up and stamp this for day 13. I want to tuck that right in there. And before we read Professor Fernscribe's notes for the day, I'm going to go ahead and just put in my tags in my pockets. I may come back and add some tag pulls to these later, but for now I think I'm just going to keep them pretty simple. And there we have our pages for the Dandelion Fairies. So let's see what Professor Fernscribe has to tell us today. Day 13, World of the Dandelion Fairies. The Fairy Bed. Environmental notes. Meadowlands covered in endless bloom of dandelions. Warm breeze disperses seeds continually, yet plants remain undiminished. Air golden and soft, carrying faint sweetness. Cultural observations. The dandelion fairies are small, winged beings with hair like seed tufts, drifting with breeze. Their lives are transient, yet joyful, revolving around constant renewal of blossoms. Beds of seed fluff used communally for rest and for cradling the very young. Artifact notes. The fairy bed is a cradle-like tuft woven from dandelion seed, impossibly durable for its delicacy. When lain upon, induces restorative sleep and vivid dreams. Hypothesis. Connects sleeper to dream paths of the fae. Narrative encounter. One fairy beckoned me to recline upon a bed of downy fluff, softer than lamb's wool. As I lay there, a warmth flooded me, and I drifted into a brief sleep, where I saw visions of the meadow from above, each seed a star floating on air. When I awoke, they placed a smaller bed into my pack, portable, yet filled with the same magic. The bed was not for rest, but for traveling through dreams. And that ends day 13 of our Fairy Wings and Forgotten Things. So be sure to hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you'll be notified anytime I put up any new content here on the channel, and come back and join me to find out where Professor Fernscribe heads for day 14. So until next time, y'all take care.